Personal Story segment tonight. Sarah Palin still drawing big crowds as she campaigns across the country, and she's not taking any bull.
He's the only man in this race with a plan that will actually help our working families and cut your taxes and get our economy back on the right track. He's the only man in this race who talks about the wars that America is fighting. You know, bless your heart, sir, my son's over in Iraq fighting for your right to protest right now.
Joining us now from Nashville, the side of tonight's debate, Fox's chief political correspondent, Carl Cameron. You know, we get in various reports from people, most of them are ideologues, so I don't really know what to believe, about rowdy crowds at the Palin events, you know, some saying inappropriate things, and it's different than a lot of the other political events. What have you seen?
Well, a couple things. First, she does draw huge crowds, and frankly, they're often larger than what Senator McCain's crowds look like. And because they're so big, and what they do is they sort of send out invitations and they start talking to churches and radio stations and the community well in advance, the crowds grow, and it's not just limited to friendly Republicans. Democrats, partisans, ideologues do seep in there, so occasionally you'll hear catcalls and screams and insults. A lot of them are directed actually towards the media, every bit as much as they're directed towards Sarah Palin.
Let me stop you. Let me stop you there. So she got big, it's a big event to go see Sarah Palin. It's like a rock concert rather than, you know, a guy like a traditional campaigner like Joe Biden or John McCain. So that you get more flamboyant crowd to go in. So partisans on both sides. You get partisans who are trying to heckle her, as we just saw, and then you get people from the far right who are screaming at what? The media, calling them what?
Sure. Well, they think that a lot of far right and a lot of far left voters believe that the media is playing games. They believe that there's too much attacking on Sarah Palin, that she's not getting a fair shake from the mainstream media, that the Bigfoot interviews that she's done were setups and that she was mistreated, that the reporting on a lot of the mainstream media is shorthanding and essentially being derisive and condescending toward her. And then you have folks on the left who believe that there's just too much criticism of Barack Obama and that the media has essentially latched on to this idea that Bill Ayers or Tony Rezko or Reverend Jeremiah Wright are issues on which voters are going to be making up their minds.
That's hard to believe that the far left would think that, because they've gotten a pretty good play from the media, 80% of which, I believe, are rooting for Barack Obama. Okay, so you've got a more explosive atmosphere, and Palin seems to be able to handle it. That heckler, she took care of him as well as, you know, Robin Williams could do it in a comedy club. I mean, she looks like she's fast, she's quick, she's aware and unintimidated.
There's one thing about Sarah Palin, and I had an opportunity to interview her last week, and I've met her once before and spent a little bit of time with her. She's an incredibly quick study, and she is very, very comfortable interacting, whether it's on a one-on-one basis or with a large crowd. She does sort of take command. She's comfortable. She can be accessible. She communicates with people effectively, and a good comparison might be what some of the criticism of Mitt Romney was. Good-looking, well-spoken, and likable, but a little bit plastic, a little bit too mechanical. There's none of that with Sarah Palin. She lets it all hang out. Big, brilliant grin. She'll wink at the crowd. She'll interact with them. And she's not afraid to talk to people who disagree with her. Like with that heckler, she handled it like a pro. And for somebody who's just stepped onto the national stage, she has done exactly what the McCain campaign and what Republicans had hoped for. She's gotten people really excited. Sure, there's a certain degree of lightning rod controversy that goes with that bill, but that's exactly the point. She is attracting attention to the McCain campaign and giving people a second look at what John McCain is saying because of their fascination by who is this new person, Sarah Palin.
Right. Well, I think that's accurate. Carl, you're doing a really good job. You know, I appreciate you helping us out. I think you're one of the best in the business. Don't tell anybody I said that. But, you know, when people criticize Fox News, I always point to you. I say, there's nobody better than Cameron out on the field.
We report, you decide.
And then I punch them or say something inappropriate. But I always mention you first.